Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're connecting. I'm very excited to have you on this session. Guess what is happening today? It's Making a Difference Every Day with Sandra Uko. My name is Sandra. I'm a leadership coach with the Maxwell Academy and an IT sales expert of over 20 years. I've been selling. And also, I'm a member of the Toastmasters and just recently got gifted the Presidential Lifetime Award. And guess what? I have a guest today with me. She's Dr. Anneli. But before I bring her on board, I want to just see what the show is all about. What's making a difference every day? We are all called to be a difference maker. Everyone that God has created, God has put in them a talent, a gifting in them. But the issues we have, a lot of people are not harnessing all of their giftings. They're not using it up to what God has called them to be. And everyone is unique in their own way. So we need to begin to identify our giftings and our talents and begin to, use it to be a blessing to the world. And that's why I said we need and ought to dare to make a difference in our work by using our giftings, our talent to be a blessing to the world. And today I have a great guest who will be sharing a story. She is no other person than Dr. Anneli Driessen. So the next person you get to see is our guest today. So glad to have you, Ma. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm excited to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm really curious about your shows. It's very different, talk about, personal and then business related interviews. Very interesting.
Thank you so much. We're glad to have you today. And my audience would like to meet with you. Tell us about yourself and what you're doing in your world.
In my age, I have done a lot of different things in the world. But let me tell you first about where I'm from originally. I'm from Germany. I grew up in a little coal mining town, and my father was a roofer and plumber, and I grew up with about 20, 25 men, and learned a lot of really practical things about life and survival and business. And my father was really my hero in many ways. He was a very good leader. He took very good care of his men. And when I moved to Canada, when I was 28, I realized that many leadership programs that people would offer were talking about the things that my father did quite naturally. And so I was always surprised about leadership training because my father had so much common sense in how he led our men and how he took care of their families and how he included them in different events. And it was just so natural and wonderful that it was very easy. And also, when I was a kid, already in kindergarten, I was bestowed on leadership functions. Even when the Fräulein had to go to the bathroom, she would say, Anneli, you make sure everything is okay while I'm gone for 5 minutes. And so this kind of led me through my whole life. In school, I was a how do you call it, a classroom representative for many years. And then when I moved to Canada later on, and in between, I took on leadership functions in various jobs that I did as a social worker. And it was very natural for me, and it still is. And now I'm, as you well know, the founder and CEO of the International Metaphysical Academy. Again, that happened already nearly 30 years ago, but I incorporated 15 years ago. So through my whole life, I had many experiences of running groups, of facilitating, and I felt and feel this is very comfortable for me. And what I learned fairly recently, and I was never really aware of it, Sandra, before, that I'm actually not good being part of a group rather than I didn't know that. I'm very, very critical. Maybe that's not the right word. Very astutely aware of poor leadership, and I have a hard time being in that situation. And so I don't know. It makes me wonder if people are born with it or actually can learn leadership. I'm not sure, but I know I definitely was influenced by my dad, and maybe it's part of it. It's an inherited predisposition that one has to work with people in leadership functions. I don't know. There are many different theories about it and perspectives, so I'm not aware of it. But I had a very interesting life. I never thought of it until recently, when I became a co-author of the Book of Hard Knocks with 21 other authors, where we talked about and wrote about the tribulations and how we overcome adversities and difficulties and hard times. And so it's a very raw sharing of who we are. And in this process, it went over 9 months. I was aware how difficult it was for me to be part of the group. I didn't know that before. I have to play by rules and agreements and all that. And I did, by the way. I didn't, make a fuss or anything, but I found it hard. And so anyway, lots of learning about myself and about my life's journey.
Awesome. Like you rightly said, you say you never know whether leaders are born, but leaders are born and some learn them along the journey of life. One reason I said that John Maxwell will always tell you, everything rises and falls with leadership. Leadership is service. Leadership you can learn.
Absolutely.
So you have to learn, relearn, and learn new things. So leadership are born, and some, because I've been in a debate situation where some people will tell leadership are not born. Leadership are trained. Some will tell you leadership are born. Some you have that innate capability because over time you've seen your parent lead. You grow up to become a leader because the environment where you grow up from does really matter. Yeah, because if you are in a family or in an environment where leadership is being exemplified, leadership is being done on a daily basis, you will grow as a leader. But if you're in an environment where you're not taught leadership, you might have to learn leadership by the books you read, the people you associate with, the clubs and the groups you belong to. So leadership is learned. Leadership is born. There are two ways to leadership.
Yeah, it's probably both. And it's kind of a conclusion.
Yeah, because environment really does matter. Because if you have a family where, leadership is not taught, that child would probably be shy, never be able to stand audience or talk to people in public places. But if you have a child where the father, the mother are maybe teachers, they talk in church, they're pastors, and that's the kind of environment she found when she was a toddler, she's going to grow to become a great leader because she sees the father and mother as siblings or people around her leading in different capacity. So the onus lies on her to follow what she sees. And that's why we say, model the way you want your children to be. You want them to be great men, you read. If you want to be, it says a leader is an avid reader. For you to earn more, you need to read more.
Right. So what prompted you to do this series of interviews? What is your overall goal with
my overall goal is that people believe that some people are just fortunate, some people are not fortunate. Both parties work. Yes, some people are fortunate, but cannot even go on with life. You find that the unfortunate ones, the ones that are not born with silver spoon, tend to come out and become greater because they know where they're coming from. They've been through difficult moments. Some of them that are born with silver spoon think because they met wealth, they thought they would continue in that circle. The same way the wealth came, that's the same way the wealth will go. And that's why I tell people, you must also learn things about leadership. Because if you get into leadership just by chance, because your father was once a leader, you would stumble. You wouldn't go through it the way you ought to go through it. But if you found leadership, you grew into leadership. You become a leader in all ramifications because you've learned the rope, you've been through the ups and downs, you know what it is to lead.
Right, yes.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care for them. People follow a leader who has the heart of the people. So if I'm leading you and I don't care about you, it's only a matter of time. You're going to leave me. You're not going to follow me. So leaders who have good followers is because the leaders are empathetic. The leaders care about the people being a success, not because of the connection, not because of the money they want to make. So one passion I had was that, how do you, as much as some people cannot read books. I'm an author, but I found that you find out that you have less people reading. But how can you reach? You find that people are on social media, they're watching videos. Sometimes that's why I actually reduced the video learned. I used to do videos for 1 hour. But even as much as I teach and coach on my or my podcast, I found that people want to watch videos that are short and precise.
Mm.
So
Yes.
and that's why I decided to make it very short, where I keep it short and simple, so that in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they're done watching it. But when you have a video that is 2 hours, after 10 minutes, they're done.
Yeah, I know.
They will never go back to that video again.
Yeah.
So it's better the videos are in series. So once you're able to catch the attention of the people, they can come back to watch the second part, watch the third part, and so on. You're able to pass your message to them. So I believe that, you know, God has called us in our different areas to be leaders in different fields, and so we can impact our world if we do the things that we need to do to help the oncoming generation. We went through life, you know, going through life struggling, and to the way where we are. The Gen Z generation that we have behind us, coming behind us, they feel that everything has to just work for them. It's their rights. They have this ownership mentality. So we have to help them to understand that, yes, we could have gone through the tough ways and we are making life easier for you, but that doesn't mean that it's a right for you to, you know, but you need to also learn.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you say. And what I hear you say also is that it is a very passionate mission of yours to guide people or encourage people or inspire people to develop their inner leadership. It doesn't matter how it shows in the world, right? You can be a fine leader running a flower shop, right? You can be a fine leader being a grandma or a mother and never really work in a capacity of being in a career, and yet you have leadership and it starts really from within. And that's what we're all about really in the academy also, that we have. We have a significant amount of knowledge that we share, and it's a very comprehensive program. But really, ultimately, it's about our inner journey and our inner confidence that will guide us through, you know, will guide us through life and have the kind of character traits and virtues that help us to be part of a better world. And we all have a little bit of a role to play. You know, we all have our unique role to play. And that's why comparison and judgment and marking this or that we're not only incapable of doing that, but it also would be wrong, because we all have a mission, and it could be someone who has been sick all his life, his or her life. It could be 1,000, well, more than 1,000 ways. It's all unique, millions and billions of different ways of being who we are and advancing our inner existence, advancing our soul. And ultimately, I know it's more than a belief. I know ultimately we prepare ourselves for our real home, which is outside of here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You said it all. And there's this inner self. If you know yourself, you'll be able to act well. But a lot of times we find that people, because they're not able to identify who they truly are, so they fall to anything. Once you're able to identify your inner strengths, your inner self-awareness, you're able to follow through. You're able to learn. You're able to, you know, equip yourself, get ready, you know, see yourself where you want to be in the next 5 years, you know, do some pep talk, do some declarations, be in control of your life. If you're not in control of your inner self, then everything around you can influence you.
Absolutely, you know, and you just summarized the kind of core mission that I have in my work. I have done that as a clinical therapist for many years, and also in the academy, but also working still with individuals and across the board. You know, I like to work with people who are influencers, and I like to work with people who are not. Or are influencers in a very minute way, and that's okay with me. I don't distinguish. I enjoy the range of humanity. I enjoy working co-creatively with a system or a path to get people where they want to go and where they want to be, and that part is very how would I say best? It's more than enjoyable. It's very satisfying for me
It
to
is fulfilling.
to look at I call it sometimes a smorgasbord of different methodologies and skill sets that I then can creatively adapt to whoever I'm working with. And I was very, very fortunate early in my life that I traveled extensively. And in these travels, I was exposed to many different cultures. And my father took me with him, all the time, and he was a great people person. And so we went to people into their homes and their private worlds, and even though we often didn't speak their language, there was
Yeah.
communication there, and lots of laughs and camaraderie and all that. And I think that all was so much part of me being a lover of people.
No,
And
that's awesome.
so I just don't know how else to say it. And I just really enjoy it. And I feel also, Sandra, I feel privileged. I feel really privileged to have my life and to have gone through the challenges and tribulations which were part of my journey and my maturity. And I'm not saying that I have reached the ultimate maturity, but I can say I have, I feel good about who I am, and my life, my accomplishments, and my ongoing journey for learning and improving and getting better. And this is so exciting. I mean, I learned so much, and I'm so fortunate. I have a husband who we just got married 6 years ago, and he's unbelievably knowledgeable. He's the most self-educated person I know. And we have the most fantastic exchange and discussions. And even this morning, when we were having coffee, I said, we probably don't even fully comprehend the gift and the privilege we have to
True.
be
Yeah,
with
no.
each other, so many people are alone and so many people are in relationships that are not really very well functioning. And so to have that gift of a partner is a huge, 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 huge privilege.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's why what we do, we try to help people
Mm-hmm.
where they are and help them through their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can be on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
So some people are fast learners, some people are good at reading. But we tell people that in order for you to make a difference, know where you are now, know where you want to be in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the things you need to do to get to where you want to be? So you must have a picture of where you want to go to. If you don't have a picture of what you want to become, then there'll be nothing that can be done, because it's a set that you can help a leader who wants to learn, but you cannot help a person who refuses to learn.
No, that's right. And there is a time where we need to back off too. People have the right to make their choices in life.
Yeah,
And as painful as it is sometimes for people like you and me, and people are coaches or therapists, when people stop learning and say, no, no more, I want to stay there, to accept that. And then there's what I mentioned earlier, faith comes in. I know that everything in evolution, it's going in its right timing.
yeah,
Like it sometimes because I want things to happen yesterday,
yeah.
But to step back and say, even though I would like this and that to happen, and I would like to help this and that person, and they don't want it or don't do it or whatever, it's for me letting go of my agenda and trusting and having faith that people do it in their own time, and that it is exactly right for them in their own time. Not
And
easy because I'm thinking, right? So I'm a planner. I want stuff right away, ideally, or
true.
within a very short period of time. But to let go is something I'm still learning, and I
And we
haven't
can all be the
fully
same.
mastered yet.
Yes, and we cannot all be the same.
Yeah.
Being unique. And that's why I tell people, I said we have our fingerprints are different. Even with identical twins, they are different. So we
Absolutely.
must work with people at their pace
There's
and
an
help grow them.
There's an interesting study you may be aware of. They've done a lot of studies on twins, but years ago there was a study where they interviewed a couple of twins that were men in their 40s, early 40s, And one of them was in and out of jail all the time. And the other one was a well-established family with kids, job, stability, and so on. And one of the questions they were asked was, why did you turn out the way you did turn out in your life? And they both answered this question the same way. They said, because our father was an alcoholic. I found this so interesting. It shows that we have choice. We can choose whatever our circumstances are to make the best of it, or we can use it as a victim or as a reason to not get on with life.
So like now we have a victor and a victim in this scenario. One took it the wrong way, one took it the other way.
Exactly. Yeah. And this example stayed with me like for years. And it really made an impact on sometimes how I shared it with people. And I said, it's up to you. You can blame your history, your body size, your, I don't know, anything will do, your dog, for not moving on or for moving on, And so it is up to each one of us, and people like you and people like myself and many others. They really want to make a difference, and they want to assist someone or be by someone's side in their journey, and maybe help them wherever it is appropriate. And that's a wonderful thing. So
thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate. I know that we've just shut this beyond the time limits, but that's because it's been interesting speaking with you and getting to hear your story. So I want to say thank you to our audience who are on the show with us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. And if this has been a blessing to you, please, it is said that a leader is one who knows it, does it, and shares it with others. So please, let's share this video with other people so that they can learn and they also can be blessed by this story. I want to say thank you to you, madam. Thank you for making a time to join us in this episode. Really had a great time talking to you. It looks like we might have to meet more often than this. I also just recently, I also counsel people. I went into counseling, though I do coaching, training, and speaking, but I thought that there are other people who need help beyond that level. You want to counsel them. And so that's what made me go into addiction counseling. So presently, I have about 10 or 12 clients I am doing a PRP for. I engage them via Zoom. And so once in a while, I get to meet them in a group. So I have group sessions. I have individual sessions with them. So you must have love for the people you serve. If there's no love for the people you serve, there's no way you can impact them. So that's it. I want to say thank you so much, Mar. I will be calling it a day. I think
I wish you all the best in your journey and your mission.
If you've made it this far into this video, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe so you can support your girl. Thank you.